All right,
All
good to go.
right, great. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thanks for joining us this morning for our session on Keep Yourself and Your Business Safe on Social Media. And I will introduce our awesome presenter in just a moment. But um, I just wanted to provide a couple of updates for you, the things that we're working on here at the Midstate Chamber of Commerce. Of course, you can always visit our website, midstatechamber.com, for events, news from our members, member directory, of course, and a lot of great resources, especially our COVID resource page, which we update regularly. Many of you know there is a second round of PPP that is now available. So we encourage you to work with your lenders and get those documents in as soon as possible. As you know, we focus our program of work here at the Midstate Chamber in four areas, which is promotion, education, leadership, and networking. Um, and just to highlight some of the areas where you can take advantage of some current things that are happening as far as promotion, we are working on our 2021 Insight magazine. You can also find that on our website. There are ads available, and it's a really great way to embed your footprint. And it is our special 125th anniversary edition, so we're excited about that. Um, we have a great networking group, the CBN Alliance, and that is a great group of folks from the Midstate Chamber and Hampden Regional Chamber, and they meet the second and fourth Wednesday of each month at 8 a.m. In terms of our leadership and advocacy pillar, we did just create and our board approved our legislative action agenda. So that will be loaded to the website by the end of this week and focuses on areas that we want our legislators to know that are important to our business community. And finally, our education pillar, which is what we're doing here today. You can look forward to some additional workshops in February with the SBA, and we're also co-promoting them through the Meriden Public Library. One of them is the importance of credit, and also some business-related topics, such as are you ready to go into business for yourself, financing, and things like that. And we also have our education awards that we give out every year, and the applications are out. They're out at the local schools, and also that will be loaded to the chamber website by the end of this week as well. So there's a lot happening here. We encourage you to take advantage of all that we offer. Again, our website is a great resource. If you're not a member, we encourage you to give us a ring at 203-235-7901, and we can tell you about the wonderful world of the Midstate Chamber and all the ways that we help our businesses succeed. And with that, I will introduce Scott Gumbar, and he is a member of our Midstate Chamber of Commerce. He's also active on our Education and Technology Committee, and we thank Scott, and he is CEO of Nuage Tech. And Scott, please take it away, enlighten us, and help keep us safe on social media.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Yes, keep yourself and your business safe on social media. So we spend a lot of time talking about phishing attacks for email and even text messaging, and we did our webinar, it was about a month ago, on that. And what people fail to realize is similar things happen and other things happen on social media. Social media, inherently, people are more comfortable on social media, so you are easier prey in some cases, I guess is a good way to put it. So these are some recent headlines that I found. These are all within the last few weeks. So since December. So hackers phished 615,000 login credentials by using Facebook ads. And we've seen where the ads are used for good reason. If I want to advertise my business or an event or something, that's great. But then we've seen where people are using them for not so good reasons. So this is one case where there was an ad, and I don't remember exactly what the ad said, but the ad was getting people to click through and input their information and their Facebook information, and their credentials were being stolen. And that's not the first time it's happened. This one here on the left from December was, and part of it is missing, as you can see, but was a message that I received on Facebook, and I knew right away that it was phishing, probably a phishing scam. I didn't click it. So this was sent by a friend. His account was compromised, and it says, "I think you appear in this video. Look at it. I'm really," and I don't remember what the rest said, but it was trying to get me to click through. It was preying on emotion again. The really important thing here was it said 737,000 views, and I know I'm not in a video that has 737,000 views. And so I sent out an email. I thought this was new. It was an article on a security website that said this was a new scam going around a couple of days after I got this. And I sent out an email to my clients, and one of my clients responded, "Yeah, I got one of those back in August." So it's been around for a few months at least. And this was the most recent one: verified Twitter accounts hacked in $580,000 Elon Musk crypto scam. So they were hacking verified Twitter accounts, which are accounts of like celebrities or very important people, things like that, athletes, and sending out messages to, kind of nudging people to purchase cryptocurrency from Elon Musk's. Elon Musk says, "Buy this cryptocurrency." So Elon Musk being the owner of Tesla, people tend to listen to him when he talks. And so people were clicking through, and people did actually click through and purchase this cryptocurrency, which was a scam. And that's not even the first time that's happened. That's happened a couple times on Twitter. But these are just recent examples. It happens all the time where people are clicking things on social media, and things they wouldn't normally click on an email is really the scary part, especially if you think it's coming from Elon Musk. You might click on it, or a friend, in this case in the messenger. You might click on it thinking, "Oh, wow, okay." So we have to learn how to recognize those things. So social media is powerful. It's a great for connecting, for sharing. People connect with high school friends, family, sharing pictures of the kids, showing off your business, work related stuff, school related stuff. So it's great, but it's also inherently dangerous. The key word being social. Social engineering is a big part of social media now, and consistently used as a tool for bad guys to con, steal, commit crimes. And it can also become a gateway into your business and result in a data breach or worse. And that has happened as well. And so the primary focus of this will be Facebook, but this applies to almost every social media platform that's out there. Social media cyber crimes have generated global revenue that tops $3.25 billion annually now. That's a lot of money. Social media incidents of abuse increased nearly 200% in 2018, and that's year over year. So 2019 and 2020, they expect it to be the same. And I would bet it's even higher in 2020 since people were home more. 1 in 4 transactions on social networking and dating platforms are cyber attacks. More than 5% of phishing attacks occur via social media. So again, we tend to focus, even in my industry, we tend to focus all our energy on email for phishing attacks, but it's happening on social media, on text message. There's a big voice phishing scam going around right now, targeting C-level executives. So it does happen in other places too. 78% of US organizations reported experiencing social media phishing attacks in 2019. And Facebook reports having 275 million duplicate accounts in 2019, meaning somebody takes my account and duplicates it and pretends to be me. And that does, I'm sure we've all at least had a friend where they've said, "This has happened to me." Facebook reports 125 million monthly active users in 2019 were fake accounts. So Facebook now has over 2 billion active users. 125 million of those, at least 125 million, are fake accounts. So those are some pretty scary numbers. And it's, Twitter and Instagram don't have quite the number that Facebook has, but they have fake accounts, especially Twitter. They have fake accounts. They have bots, they call bots, where it's just these computer controlled accounts sending out information. And so it does happen, and people fall prey to those things and then wind up giving away the farm in some cases. It's not just a Facebook issue. Again, I know I'm focusing primarily on Facebook, but it does occur on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. TikTok, you've probably heard it is a company based out of China, and it is believed that the Chinese government does have control over it. I don't know that that's been proven, but they do believe, to the point where the U.S. government has said TikTok either needs to have somebody in the U.S. involved, or we're going to shut it down. LinkedIn, it does happen on LinkedIn and other social platforms. We've heard of some of these newer social platforms, and they're targeting certain beliefs. I don't want to get political here, but they're targeting certain beliefs, and those platforms, I've been on some of them. They are nowhere near as secure as Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. Those three tend to be the most secure of the social media platforms, and LinkedIn. Snapchat and TikTok are not as secure. So what type of stuff happens on social media? We've all heard disinformation and misinformation thrown around a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, or mostly around the political environment, but there's been a lot of misinformation around COVID-19 thrown around. There's been a lot of misinformation about, like the PPP programs, any financial programs that are meant to help people. There has been a lot of misinformation around that. And some of that comes from people not doing enough research. So they find an article on a not so reputable website and then share it. Facebook and Twitter do the best they can to block those things. You can't really share that stuff on Instagram, but the other platforms don't really block that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean it's not getting through. It's still getting through. So people might be misinformed on something. I could write an article now, put it on my website and share it to Facebook, and it could be 100% false, but because I shared it to Facebook and somebody else shares it, now it becomes true for some people. Clickbait is similar in nature. It will use a title or a subject that it may be a little controversial, maybe plays on emotion, where you then click through to read something that's not even remotely close to what the original subject was. And sometimes it's just so that they can get ad revenue, and so it's not that serious. But then sometimes it is to get you to try to give away some information or install software or something like that. Impersonation, again, 275 million duplicate accounts. People are being impersonated on social media. I recommend that people every so often, maybe once a month, just search Facebook and Twitter to see if there is another account with your name on it. Now, I did discover there is somebody else with my name in Florida. This is a real person. So there are 2 Scott Gumbars in the U.S. So that's another interesting thing you might discover by searching your name. Online dating and romance, these are big scams. If you're married, you're probably not going to fall for these types of things, but it happens where somebody will say, somebody will start an online romance. And during this online romance, they may end up scamming the person out of money. They might say, hey, they'll start off small. It'll be something like $100. They say, I need $100 for XYZ. The person says $100. That was a test to see if you'll send the $100. And then those amounts are going to go up. And Facebook does have a dating platform on it now. I think it's called Facebook. Is it Facebook dating? I'm not sure, but they do have a dating component of Facebook now. Quizzes and polls, these drive me crazy. The quizzes, where they ask you what your favorite concert was, what was your pet's name, and things like that. Somewhat sensitive information, but you're probably thinking, oh, it's just my pet's name, who cares? Well, they're asking those questions because those tend to be the questions they ask when you set up an account and you set up the security questions in case you need to reset your password. So a lot of times, what was your first pet's name, or what's your favorite vacation place, or where did you meet your spouse, or where did you go to high school, things like where were you born, things like that. They ask those questions for security questions. So when you see these polls where they ask you, copy and paste this and answer the questions, what was your first concert, and where did you meet your wife or your husband? Those are ways to fish information out of you, social engineering. Phishing, again, here it is, rearing its ugly head. There could be, in the case of that one that was sent to me in Messenger, was I in that video? Why was I in that video? The picture that was removed by Facebook showed a lot of people in a video. So now your thought becomes, what was I doing? Am I going to get in trouble because of this video? Fortunately, I know I don't tend to be around a large amount of people, so I know that wasn't me. And 750,000 views. I know there aren't any videos with me with that many number of views. But when I send it out to my clients and my clients reply with, yeah, I saw that, I got that same message in August, that's a little concerning, because in August, nobody knew this was a problem. Now, if I click through, I don't know what would have happened if I clicked through that video. But if I did click through, I could have, maybe it would say, log into Facebook to view this video, log into YouTube to view this video. Now they've got my credentials. The sweepstakes, this one always cracks me up. It'll be something like Jay-Z's giving away $500,000 to anybody that shares this video, or Shakira is giving away $1 million to share this video. They're not giving away money to share a video, and there's not even a way to track that. So I don't know why people fall for that. And some people will just say, well, just in case it's real. It's not real, and you're probably spreading some kind of at the very least misinformation, but maybe some kind of malware, some kind of social engineering attack. And then the work at home, quick money. I see these a lot. There are Facebook groups, even here in Connecticut, there are Facebook groups for people looking for jobs, for businesses, local, like we have several Meriden groups, groups like that, where occasionally somebody will share something that says, hey, Amazon is hiring, they're paying, I just saw one the other day, they're paying $50 an hour. I don't know what position at Amazon is paying $50 an hour, but it's got to be pretty high up the food chain, and they wouldn't be advertising that on Facebook. They'll say work from home for $20 an hour, third shift. And again, there aren't that many jobs that are work from home, third shift, $20 an hour. But these are the types of things that are being pushed on Facebook. And you can usually tell by the account name that it's not real. And most of the time, like myself, if I see it, I will comment and say, this is not real. So somebody will usually comment and say, this isn't real, this is fake, stay away from it. But, and again, I know Facebook does have the employment opportunity component to it too. I don't know how well it gets used. I haven't used it. I would say if there's a job opportunity, it should be in that part of Facebook. It shouldn't be in just a random group. So how do you combat these types of attacks, or this type of how do you keep yourself safe on social media, right? So that's why we're here. So first of all, be aware of what's public, and that is your profile. What is public? And I'm going to go over how to check what's public and how to secure your Facebook profile. But this applies to the major social media platforms. Again, the newer ones that are out there, probably not so much. As a matter of fact, one of them, Parler, which is I don't know if it's back up or not. Supposedly they were getting some new backing. That entire platform, every single piece of it was compromised and leaked on the internet. So it was a huge amount of data. I don't remember the numbers now. So every message, every video, every picture, everything that was placed in Parler has been leaked on the internet. So there was absolutely no security. They were using very poor coding, and the information got leaked. I believe it is currently shut down, but I believe they may have a new backer to open it back up again. But be aware of what's public, and I'll take that a step further. If you don't want people to see it, don't share it, whether your profile is public or not. Because let's say your profile is only friends, and you post something. Well, I'll give you an example. Somebody I know posted something on a political forum right after what happened on January 6th. it was screenshotted and shared with people that they were not friends with. And so now there are people that do not want to be friends with this person anymore. So just because it's friends only that see what you post doesn't mean somebody won't screenshot it and share it. Uh, I I personally do share some pictures of my family. I don't share a ton. Again, somebody can screenshot it. There are child trafficking people that watch these things and will try to grab people right here in Connecticut, all over the world. They will try to grab up kids. Um, I, you might call me a helicopter parent. I don't really know what all that stuff means, but I watch my kids like a hawk, so I don't worry about it as much, and I don't share everything. You have to be careful what you're sharing, especially if there's locations involved. Check your privacy settings. Again, we're going to go over that in a minute. What are you sharing? What are your security settings? There are ways to secure your account even more so that people don't compromise your account and then use your account. So in the case of that Facebook message where I was supposedly in that video, that person's account, I actually, since I'm friends, most of the people I'm friends with on Facebook, I know in real life, I um, I text them off of Facebook, just sent them a text and said, hey, I got this from you on Facebook. I think your account's been compromised. And sure enough, that was the case. So if my account is compromised and then I start messaging all of you on Facebook, you might think it's legitimate. That means your account wasn't secured in the first place. So we need to make sure your account is secure, prevent logins from occurring that shouldn't happen. Don't accept random friend requests. I get this a lot. I've started getting a lot for people that claim to be cryptocurrency experts. But I've seen, women, I've been married almost 12 years now, women that are single, like I'm not interested at all. But you could tell they're fake profiles. They've just created a profile a couple of months ago and they have 2 friends. They've never posted. So these are obviously fake profiles. Another one that happens a lot is these political type profiles. Again, I'm not interested. So if you don't have something in common with me, that some common friends, maybe some locations, or I recognize the name, something like that, then I'm not accepting it. So don't accept random, and that applies to every platform really. A little different on like Twitter because of the way Twitter is, but on Facebook, where you're probably sharing more personal information, or even LinkedIn to a point, you probably don't want to just accept random friend requests. Limit location sharing. I only share location typically in and around Meriden, within a few miles of my home. Review posts you're tagged in. There is a way to turn this on or off. I would recommend turning it on so that if anybody tags you, you've been tagged in it. It might be information you don't want out there on the internet. Limit personal information. This one, I do not share my birthday on Facebook or any platform. Why? Because your birth date is used for a lot of different things. So when somebody called, and I do this even when you get a phone call, if you get a phone call and they say, can you just verify your birthday, the last 4 of your social, don't. I always tell them, if you don't have it, I'm not giving it to you. It's really that simple, because the last 4 of your social and your birthday is enough if they already have some other information to steal your identity. Because if they know where you were born, they have the rest of your social security number. Know when and where you were born, they have the rest of your social security number already. It's the last 4 that's randomized. And if you give them the last 4, they have enough to steal your identity. So if you're giving your birthday in the last 4, they've got everything they need. So don't share. I know a lot of people do share their birthdays, and it is what it is. Most people, I would say 90% of the people do. I don't. Or some will share the wrong birthdays, which is fine as well. Educate yourself about phishing scams. Really, the only way to do that is just stay with the news and see, there are sites. I think a really good site is bleepingcomputer.com. There's also federal websites, government websites that share a lot of these scams. But bleepingcomputer.com is a great site. They will share a lot of the current social media and phishing scams that are going around. Strong passwords and enable two-factor authentication. If you were here for the last one, I said it then. I'm going to say it again now. Strong passwords means as many characters as possible, the more the better. Uppercase, lowercase, special characters, and numbers should all be in your password, and you should not be using the same password in two different places. So I shouldn't be using my email password for social media, because if, well, let's use LinkedIn as an example. 2015 or 2016, LinkedIn was compromised and everybody's usernames and passwords were dumped on the internet. So however many people were on LinkedIn in 2015 or 16, all of their information was on the internet, usernames, passwords, names, and so forth. So if that password and username combination was being used anywhere else, chances are it was, that account was also compromised. Because what the attackers do, they take that information and I don't remember the numbers. I saw it earlier this week. I think it was 22 billion account details were compromised last year. And if you think about the population of the world is 8 billion, that means every person on the planet had their username and password compromised at least 3 times. Now it didn't work out, but it doesn't work out that way, but that's the average. So that means if you have your username and password out there on the internet, that username and password with a script is being checked against a bunch of other login credentials, banks, employment, jobs, wherever you might be working, other social media platforms, email accounts. So the SolarWinds compromise that we've probably all heard about now, they're getting into Microsoft 365 accounts through one of the partners for Microsoft that was compromised as a result, and they're going to get the credentials through that as well. So you have to use different passwords across everything you log into, and it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. That's why they have password managers, and then you only have to remember one password. And then two-factor authentication, or you'll hear multi-factor authentication, one-time passwords, or OTP. What that means is when I try to log into, let's say, Facebook, I then bring up an app on my phone that'll generate a one-time PIN code that I use to log in for that one login. And then the next time I try to log in, it'll generate a different password, a different PIN, 6-digit PIN. Some of them are 8, but most are 6. And this way, if the person doesn't have that information, they can't log in. And now you could still potentially be hacked, but it makes it, many levels harder in that case if you have these two things turned on. Avoid the games, quizzes, challenges that reveal personal information. There is a lot of they scare me. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anybody get hacked recently. This used to happen a lot, but a lot of the, click here to reveal XYZ about yourself. Well, they want you, and it could be completely legitimate. It could, it's just like the magic 8-ball or something like that we all know about. But it used to get people to click on it and their accounts would be compromised. I have not seen that happen lately, so they might be completely legitimate, but they always make me nervous and I stay away from them. And I would recommend anybody else stay away from them. The quiz is what was your first concert, or where did you meet your spouse, and things like that. And then finally, always think before you click. Before you click on something, if you have to ask yourself, is this playing with my emotions? Is this taking advantage of the fact that I'm scrolling through Twitter or Facebook right now because I'm bored? Instagram doesn't really use links, so you don't have to worry about it so much there. But Facebook and Twitter, am I bored right now and I'm just clicking through because I'm bored? Is this playing on my emotion and I'm clicking on it because, I want to find out, do I have a high IQ or something like that? It's not really that serious, but maybe I'm doing it because I'm bored. Maybe I'm doing it because my friend did it on Facebook and I want to see if I'm smarter than they are. The games, there used to be a lot more games on Facebook. They're not as popular anymore. But I still every now and again get an invite from somebody playing a game on Facebook. One of the companies that created a lot of those games was called Zynga. Zynga. They were also compromised a few years ago, and millions of accounts were leaked on the internet. So again, your credentials might be out there, and if you might forget, if it was 5 years ago, you might forget that that credential was already used and reuse it. And somebody's got a list. Those lists are on the internet. Somebody has that list, and they're trying those credentials across the internet right now. With a script, it doesn't take long. And computers are becoming more powerful. I was just looking at a new phone that has 8 gigs of RAM, and it wasn't that long ago you couldn't get a computer with that much RAM, which is the memory, which is what powers it. On Facebook, so we're going to focus again mostly on Facebook, but these settings again apply to, remember, Instagram is owned by Facebook, so a lot of what you do on Facebook is done on Instagram, but Twitter also has a lot of these same settings. But on the top right corner of Facebook, if you're on your desktop, is this option here. You just click this little down arrow and you can get the settings of privacy, and then there's a few other settings here, but settings and privacy is where we're going, and that will bring you to here, settings and privacy checkup. So I recommend doing the privacy checkup, because that'll walk you through all your settings to see if there's anything you might want to change. Now, some people don't care. They share everything publicly to the whole world. And at one point, my profile was public because I felt like if my profile was public, more people that wanted to do business with me might find it. It's not a good way to work. That's what Facebook pages and Facebook groups are for. So I recommend everybody do the privacy checkup at least once. It will walk you through all your settings to see what you might want to change. But we're going to go to settings for now. If you go to settings, you get this page. And here you can, some people do change their name. Now, Facebook supposedly does verify that the name is real, but I know lots of people that are not using their full real name. But just be careful. If you change it to something weird, they might block your account. Your contact information, and you'll want to make sure that this, for some people, you don't want to share this information, your email address, depending on what you do on Facebook. If you do run ad accounts, they're going to want that email information as well. Memorialization settings, again, if something happens to you, what happens to your Facebook account? Kind of morbid, but, and then identity confirmation, confirm your identity for things like ads and so forth. This also controls what you see for politics and things like that. But in a minute, we're gonna go to security and login, because that's where you're gonna want to adjust your account access. There's also privacy, which is what you share, who's gonna see what you share. So what is your privacy settings? And usually you'll want to share with friends only. If there's one post where you want to share it with the whole world public, you can adjust it per post. So I always say now, leave it to friends. And if there is something you want to share with the whole world, you can adjust it for that post. The other thing you'll want to do there for privacy is, I recommend now that a lot of people block their friends lists, meaning if I'm on Facebook and somebody wants to see who my friends are, but they're not friends with me, they can't see it. I believe that's under privacy. It might be under blocking. Face recognition. This is if somebody takes a picture of you, do you want Facebook to recognize that it's you? They have facial recognition. Now, it's not foolproof, but it is there. So you could turn that on or off. Profile and tagging. Do you want people to be able to tag you in posts? And if you do you want to be notified? And so I would say, yes, you want to be notified, but you could also turn it off so that they can't tag you. Public posts, maybe that's where you turn off private and public posts. Again, I wouldn't share everything on social media at all, not to the public. To your friends, yes. Privately, to a few people, you can do that as well. Blocking. This is where you would block people. So you might block people because they're annoying, which is fine. I do it sometimes. You might block people because they've been a nuisance, or they've been, harassing you. If you have, if you have kids that are on Facebook, they're probably not, but if they were, you block people that maybe they're bullying them. And then location, do you want for people to know where you are? So this is the, privacy, security and login. When you get to, yeah, I have it highlighted here. I should have known that. When you get to security and login, you can see where you're logged in. So you can see here, I'm logged into a Windows computer, which is the one I'm on now, and a phone, my OnePlus 6T. It says Bridgeport, but that's only because with phones, it gives you, the IP address is given to you by the phone company, may not be 100% accurate to where you are. And then obviously if there's more, I'm sure there are a couple more for me. So you could see that here as well. You could change your password here. You can save your login info, so it will be saved for the browser. I don't recommend doing that, and I don't even know why it's on for me. I don't recommend doing that because, especially if it's a laptop or a mobile, something mobile, and it gets stolen, then they could log into your Facebook. And there was a scam that it's been going around for probably close to 15, 20 years now, where somebody would get an email saying their friend, it would be from their friend, and it would say that, I'm in Europe, everything of mine was stolen. Can you send me $2,000 so I can get back to the US? Well, that's still happening. Now it happens on social media. If you save your login info and somebody steals your laptop and then they go to Europe, now they can log into your Facebook account and say, hey, I'm stuck in Europe. They're probably not really stuck. Can you send me the money? Can you send me money so I can get back? Use two-factor authentication, always turn that on. And depending on how you set it up, it can ask for a code that's generated with one of those apps. It can also push a notification to your phone where you can approve or deny the login, which can be scary if somebody tries to log into your account from somewhere you're not familiar with. Authorized logins, these are the things that are approved to log into your account. So again, if you get a new phone, maybe that's not on the authorized list, you'd have to come in here and authorize it. And this way you can log in without a login code. So on my OnePlus 6T, I don't need a login code. App passwords, if you connect apps to Facebook, or if you are an app builder, you can set up Facebook, and Twitter will do this as well. I don't know if they use passwords, but they do use a form of connecting apps that connect to Facebook and Twitter and other social media platforms. You've probably all been on websites that will say you can log in with your Facebook account. It's similar to that. Get alerts about unrecognized logins. So that you'll definitely want to have on. If somebody logs into your account from somewhere and it's not you, you'll want to be notified of it. And this way, if it does happen, you can take action right away, change your password. Up here where it says where you logged in, you can also, with these three little bars, you can log it out. So if you see a login here, if somebody in Egypt is logged into your account, you can log them out. And then if that happens, you'll want to change your password. And then Facebook Messenger is, sorry, I have a 6-year-old hanging over my shoulder right now. Facebook Messenger is a great tool for communicating with people. It's a great tool, right? So there's Facebook Messenger, there's WhatsApp, which is also tied, which is essentially Facebook Messenger now. They're the same company. Facebook bought WhatsApp. And WhatsApp does have, they're changing their privacy settings. So if you use WhatsApp because of the privacy, you'll want to maybe get off of WhatsApp, because that's not going to be the case anymore soon.
I don't know what to tell you.
Signal is a newer one that a lot of people are going to now. Telegram is another one that's owned by Twitter. Those are all great messaging apps. Some of them they advertise that they're more secure. You could take that for what it's worth. There are a lot of scams on Telegram right now as well. But Facebook Messenger is probably the most popular one. It's great. If you want to communicate with people across the world, there's no charge. You can make phone calls through it. It's great. However, there comes the negative part of these things, right? So I got that one about the video that I was supposedly in. And every once in a while, I will get a message, and so will others so will everybody, really. It's no different than email, where, hey, this is a picture of you. You might want to click here to check it out, or something along those lines. And it's not going to be. So somebody else's account gets compromised. They use that account to then message everybody, or duplicate it. So we talked about duplicated accounts. So somebody duplicates my account and then starts messaging Roseanne. Roseanne thinks, hey, this is Scott. What does he want? And she clicks on whatever it is, and it says log into your Facebook account. Now they have her Facebook credentials. It's not really Facebook. It's easier to do on mobile platforms, which is where we tend to use Facebook Messenger, because it's harder to see that what you're logging into is fake. Smaller screen, less information is shown. So it's harder to tell that it's fake. That's the danger in Facebook Messenger and all these other messaging apps. Telegram has a lot of bots on it right now, where people are saying, and I'm going to come back to the PlayStation 5 because I'm still looking for one. They'll get a message. They'll see an ad. This is actually happening. They'll see an ad that says, hey, we have the PlayStation 5 bundle. You'll click on the ad. It'll take them to Telegram. Well, they'll interact with bots. They won't even be real people. It'll be bots. So it'll be just programs saying, this is how much it is. Here's where you pay for it. Click here to pay for it. You click on it. You put in payment information. It's usually around cryptocurrency, so like Bitcoin, which is not hard to transfer cash to Bitcoin. So then you make the purchase. You don't get anything for it, and there's a chance that they've stolen credentials in the process. This is happening on Telegram. I'm sure it's happening on Messenger. We see the local scams all the time where they're selling something. You'll say, yeah, I'm interested. They'll send you a message with a link to pay. Even PayPal now has a way to where you could pay instantly. I think it's PayPal Me. I think it's what it's called now. Venmo and all those things. Send me the money here. You send the money, you never see the product. And that's happening right here in Connecticut. But this is all happening in Facebook Messenger. So maybe you're buying new equipment for your business. I see all the time people selling office equipment, especially now with a lot of offices downsizing because everybody's working from home. They're selling desks, computers, things like that. Well, it could be somebody just creating something on Connecticut Buy Sell, which I believe is a group on Facebook, for desks and chairs and stuff. They send you say, I'm interested. They send you a message in Messenger. Can you pay here? You pay, and then you never hear from them again. And they could be using a duplicate account. They could be a compromised account. So maybe I've compromised Roseanne's account and I'm sending out messages like that. So these are all possibilities based on that list that we just went through of things that could happen because of not using a secure password and two-factor authentication. So messaging apps are great. My wife sometimes talks to my father-in-law in Haiti through Facebook Messenger because there's no extra charge for it. You can make phone calls through it. So it's great for that purpose. Although I do find it weird when somebody calls me on Facebook Messenger. And there actually was a bug even. They just fixed it on most of those applications, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, I think all of them, Signal, Telegram, where if you called someone, you could hear their surroundings even before they answered. So you were able to eavesdrop. They fixed it now, but even that was a possibility up until a couple months ago. Final lesson here. Follow security best practices on all social platforms. If that social platform doesn't offer those best security practices, if they don't have two-factor authentication, if they don't enforce strong passwords. So a lot of like Google Chrome now will actually tell you your password has been compromised if you're using it. If you type in your password in Google Chrome, it will recognize that that password has been compromised somewhere else and shows up on a list on the internet somewhere and tell you. So if you can't find a platform that enforces those types of things, then you shouldn't use it. And so I'm talking to the newer social media platforms. There's a few of them out there now. The newer ones that maybe they're not as secure yet. The programmers are a little more amateurish, so they haven't had the time to develop it. And Facebook was there at one time. Instagram was there at one time. They were all there at one time. They're now, because they have all this experience and years behind them, they're more secure. They're a better platform to use because they offer these different security options. But if you're not using them, then it's pointless. At one time, you had to turn on HTTPS for Facebook. It was an option. It wasn't mandatory. So what would happen is, if I was on the same network as you, I could connect to your Facebook account with an app on my phone and see everything you were doing. They fixed that. That's going back a while, at least 10 years ago. They fixed that. But what's the next bug? So if you're not following security best practices, or that platform doesn't allow it, then you shouldn't use it. Any questions?
I have a question.
Go for it.
When you said you should search Facebook to see if others are out there with your own name, what if you find that? What do?
You should report it to Facebook.
And
So
how do you do that?
There's a report option when you look at somebody's profile. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can share that with you. Let me see here. Facebook. Let's see if I search. So I know I have another profile. I created another one a while ago. So I'll show you that if it comes up here. Okay. Maybe it's gone.
And kind of piggybacking on Arlene's question here, Scott, like you said, there is another legit Scott Gumbar out there.
Yeah.
How would you know it's not a legitimate person with your same name?
I actually messaged them. This is going, I'm not even sure they're on Facebook anymore, but this was going back a while ago. I messaged them and asked them. So that's another option. Like, I did receive a Facebook. I'm always skeptical, but I did get a Facebook message from someone who said that was I related to Gary Gumbar, who's my father. And so of course I am. And they, turns out they are distant relatives of mine, and they were doing one of the genealogy things. And so I got to know them. They're down south somewhere. But so I'm always skeptical of those things, and I'm always skeptical of the genealogy searches too. But you know, that's part of my nature too. But it, you know, message them and find out if it is them, if they really are that who they say they are. And I probably Google searched or something too. But so this is my other profile I created. As you can see, I haven't posted anything since 2013. And I don't remember why I created a second profile, but I did. So here you can find support or report profile, and you can also block these three dots here. This is on desktop. On mobile, I think it's fairly similar. But then you can hear pretending to be someone, fake account, and so forth. So you can report it. And Facebook takes those things pretty seriously now. And so they will probably block it probably remove the profile pretty quickly, especially if they see activity that is not legitimate. I tested that a while ago, and I took some pictures. I got permission from someone, took some of their pictures, created a profile with a different name. They reported it, and the account was removed. You can also see up here. So this one says Scott.Gumbar.7. I'm not sure where the 7 came from, but if it says, so if my profile says Scott Gumbar, but this says Tony Montana, chances are it's not really Scott Gumbar. But yeah, that's how you do that. That's how you would block. You can block them. So this is also, if it's a friend of yours and they're posting stuff you're not a fan of, maybe, but you still want to remain friends with them, you can temporarily block them for 30 days as well. So if you go to this, I don't think I could do it because I'm actually not friends with myself, but there'll be an option here that says something about block content for 30 days, something along those lines. So I was doing that a lot during the election, unfortunately. But
And do they get notified that you've blocked them?
no,
They don't.
no, they don't.
They
Even
could
if you
go
block them
on, though.
permanently, they don't. But if they look to see, hey, now the temporary one, they won't see that. But if you block them permanently and they go back to look, that you won't even show up.
Right.
So if I search for someone that I permanently blocked or someone that's permanently blocked me, their name won't even show up in Facebook. It'll be like
As-
they don't exist.
As your friend, oh, like they don't even exist. Not
Yeah.
just
So if
on
they
the
happen to think, wow, I haven't seen a post from Scott Gumbar in a while, and they go and look for you, they won't find you.
Okay.
Let me go back to the PowerPoint here. And the same things apply to Twitter. So I'm pretty big on Twitter. I like Twitter, but not everybody does. So if you want to block people on Twitter, you can do that there as well. And I think to some extent, it's probably Twitter tends to be a little more annoying because it's almost as though they want people to share that information, even if it's not legit. I know lately it's become a hot topic, but and I don't think I'm sharing my screen right now, so let me get back to that. Are there any other questions while I'm trying to find my screen again?
Oh, you covered a lot, Scott, and it's always, always great information, and it's just good to hear these reminders about, what to look out for, and
And it makes you think about the things you might click on that you probably shouldn't, like, what does my birth month correlate to a flower?
Exactly.
How does my birth month correlate to a flower? Or, what actress am I most like or something? Yeah. I mean, I don't do those, but I see a lot of people who post those
Right.
sorts of things.
Exactly. So that's exactly, you said it exactly. Those things, and I see it a lot too, where they're sharing, they're clicking on things that could potentially lead to account takeover.
Yeah.
But they also might be sharing information they don't want to have shared publicly without even realizing they're doing it.
Right, because to get to the, you're like a rose, you probably have to input information in order for that.
Exactly.
To say, okay, then this means you're a rose. Yeah.
Yeah. Or how much money you're going to make. And so those are things that, maybe flowers interest, like it wouldn't interest me, but maybe how much money will I make in 2021?
Right.
That might interest me. And there's really no way for some random website to know that.
Yeah.
But people are still going to click on it. What does your birthday reveal about you?
Yes. Yeah.
And again, it's just so important to be aware and be informed. We know someone, Arlene and I, someone shared with us that someone they know, they were recently scammed, through email. It was a PayPal scam, and the door was opened and they walked into it, and it's happening daily, whether it be, on the phone or online or email, social media. And that's why, we're so grateful here at the Midstate Chamber, Scott, that provide such, great information around these topics, because, we get complacent, and it's not going to happen to me, but, we really just have to keep our eyes open.
Yeah. Complacency plays a big part in it. It does. You haven't, maybe you were hacked 10 years ago. You haven't been hacked since. You're like, nobody's going to bother, or I'm too small. I hear that a lot. My business is too small to be a target. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Everybody's a target. I've seen solopreneurs get hacked.
Yeah.
I have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys want to, these are my, you can message us on Facebook. I know I just kind of discouraged that, but you can message the business on Facebook. If there's ever a question, I answer questions free of charge. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, it's all Nawaj Tech, NWAJ Tech. That's Haitian Creole, Arlene Nawaj.
Love
For
that.
cloud.
I think that is great. That is a great name. And when you told us why, I thought that was great. Very clever.
Yeah, so go follow us. I do almost every Tuesday. I share tips. I call it Tech Tuesday tip. So I do share a tip almost every Tuesday. So if you want to follow along, we're on all of those social platforms. And thank you again. Thank you, Roseanne, for setting this up, and thank you everybody that attended.
Absolutely. We'll again, we'll share the link so folks can watch it at another time. And Scott will be working on some additional programming as well. So you can all look forward to that.
Okay.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.